Hello, I'm here to actually share with you a video tutorial for the mechanics for the flower crown. It's really an important mechanic that whenever you're going to build something like a flower crown, and especially a big hefty one with bigger flowers, you need good security in the mechanics. So I want to share it with you what that might be. So the ingredients that you're going to use for this is going to be several things. A lot of Smithers Oasis product. We have the aluminum flat wire. We have the Oasis glue. We also have the U-glue dashes, which is really an important part, as well as I have some bullion wire. This is copper. I usually use silver, but just so that you can see it, I decided to go with a color. I also have the bind wire in the green because I'm using yarn that is also kind of a light apple green. So I think that should work really well to keep it looking very natural colored as a background as the gluing surface. So I'm going to first show you how to make the main band. It's like the headband that you're going to put to be able to put over your head so that it could be pinned in or whatever. But this is the surface that you really want, a nice full surface that can be glued to. So how we're going to do that is you're going to take the flat wire, the aluminum 1-inch flat wire, and create a band. So first I'm going to start out with doubling it because it in itself, it's not thick enough, and so we really want it doubled up. So I'm going to kind of cut it so that I can double it up like this with an overlap. So there's the piece that's cut, bent, and this bent side, what you're going to do is take a needle nose plier and just flatten it so it's nice and flattened out, and it's also not sharp. So it's really nice to have this surface right here, nice and neat. And then this side, I had a little bit of an overlap here so that you actually bend it back so that you also get a nice clean surface that's not sharp. You want to stay away from that sharp cut. So you always want to round off the edges so that it's nice and safe. So I'm going to start out with that, like that, and then I'm going to wrap it with yarn. And the yarn could be any yarn. I mean, this is just a polyester yarn, and I love the color of it. So it blends beautifully with some of the material that I might be using to start. So I'm going to first start out by taking the U-glue dashes, and I'm going to actually place them sort of periodically across this band. This is so that as you wrap it with yarn, it doesn't slide around, and it makes for a much more secure attachment of the yarn to the band. The reason the yarn is being used is, of course, for its adhesion quality. Glue adheres to it really, really, really well and really secure. So that's the reason why I like to use yarn. And also yarn is also a good surface for after the flowers are on it and you mist it, it kind of retains the moisture and keeps the flower nice and fresh and hydrated. So it's really a good material to use as a surface for gluing. So I'm going to first take off all these, the covers on these dashes so that it's ready to use with the yarn. So I'm going to take the yarn and I'm going to start by just wrapping it around and sort of making sure that it makes a good adhesion to the U-glue dash at the very end of this band. And then I'm just going to go and wrap. And I don't know that there's any real quicker way of doing this. It's a little bit tedious, but actually if you use thicker yarn, it definitely goes faster. You can also multiply it, and I'm going to show you maybe how that looks. So I'm just going to go there, and what I mean by triple ply it. I can actually take a piece like this, and there's 3 pieces. I'm gonna attach it to a U-glue, and then I am able to then just sort of triple ply it so that you're actually wrapping 3 at the same time. So that goes a little bit faster, like that. So basically this is what you do until this whole thing is covered. Now next, after this, what you want to do is build out from this so that there's more gluing surface that covers a bigger area. So what we're going to do is create something like this. This is actually Middlino extender that you'll have to go to another YouTube video to see. Under Middlino extender, it'll show you how to make it. So this is what you need to make, and you're going to start with an already made Middlino extender, like this. So it's a Middlino with aluminum wire in it and wrapped with yarn. So this is what you have, and then what you're going to do is create maybe a loop like this. You're going to take bind wire and then cut into little pieces so that we can just use it real quickly, and add sort of random bindings to create a shape. So what I'm going to do is add this on to this band so that it extends longer. It's going to have a surface, a solid surface to which that it is glued down to. I'm going to take the U-glue half dash and attach it to the surface of this band, this Middlino extender loops. And this one here, maybe I'm going to shape it now so that it is maybe extended downwards on that side, maybe something like this. And then I'm going to add on the other one that I built so that it gives you a lot more surfaces for gluing. And at this point, I'm going to actually tie this with a bind wire because there's some U-glue dashes that's been secured down to the band, but now we want to add the final touches to make sure that it's nice and secure. It's all about really good mechanics that doesn't fail you. So here's the mechanic that I've created. So it's all attached to the band. So it gives you lots of gluing surface on the band itself, but it also has a lot of surfaces for gluing. So it's really great for catching like flowers such as ranunculus, so that it actually catches spots, like so that you can glue it onto this and this, the Middlino extender cavities. And then even flowers such as a peony, like really a big surface that sometimes you don't want to just leave it, just glued to a very thin wire or unsubstantial surface. What you can do is catch a spot like this, that then it could be glued. And you can see that with some of these surfaces kind of going upward, you can have it so that they position so that the flowers are facing forward instead of just sitting on top of the band. So you can see that you can glue it on and have different pieces sit very nicely onto the surface. So this is what you'll do, is take your Oasis glue and just glue onto this surface. But it's all very possible to just glue into all these different cavities and different surfaces that are covered with yarn that absorbs the glue and is a perfect adhesion. Also, pieces like these beautiful Tillandsia geographica, like they glue on beautifully into this to give you lots of movement. Lots of great surfaces again. so that it gives you all these little extra extensions with lines and flow. That looks fantastic. And look at how the color of this yarn just picks up this color so perfectly. So this is kind of how you do this, but great surface for gluing, lots of security that you can guarantee that none of the flowers will fall off of this. So I hope this mechanic was really helpful. I hope this makes you a much more successful flower crown producer, maker. I hope you can share with us what you do with it so that we can see bigger and bigger and more exciting versions of flower crown that's being made. If you enjoy this video, if this is helpful to you, please give it a like, give it a thumbs up, and don't forget to subscribe.